During the chaos of battle or the quiet of a blackout, soldiers quickly learned that a moment without light could be deadly. Field operations relied on visibility for everything, from reading maps to signalling allies, but electricity and batteries were luxuries often unavailable or destroyed. In those circumstances, ingenuity wasn't optional. It was survival. Among the most remarkable tricks developed during the early 20th century was the use of rust and vinegar to generate a small but steady electrical current. At first glance, it seems improbable that common household items like corroded iron and ordinary vinegar could power a light. But soldiers discovered that chemical reactions could replace complex batteries in a pinch. The method might seem quaint now, but it was a lifesaver in the field, and the principles behind it remain instructive for anyone interested in history, survival, or improvised engineering. The story begins in the trenches and makeshift encampments of the First and Second World Wars. Supply chains were fragile, and batteries were not always accessible in the quantities required. Soldiers who understood chemistry realized that oxidation, the process of rust forming on iron, was more than a nuisance. It represented stored electrical potential. When combined with an acidic solution such as vinegar, the reaction between iron oxide and acetic acid could release electrons. This reaction was harnessed by creating simple improvised cells. Pieces of iron, intentionally rusted, were submerged in vinegar, often paired with a copper plate to complete the circuit. The soldiers had stumbled upon a practical version of what chemists call a galvanic cell, a device that converts chemical energy into electrical energy. Reports from wartime manuals and field notebooks, describe soldiers connecting these rudimentary cells in series to light small lamps or power signaling devices. They weren't really replacing industrial batteries, but the effect was enough to provide a low-level glow in tents or dugouts, to energize small field telegraphs, or to maintain visibility during those critical nighttime operations. It was a solution born from scarcity and necessity, honestly demonstrating that knowledge and observation often outweighed technological sophistication in survival situations. What made this method so valuable wasn't just its effectiveness, but, its accessibility. Iron was everywhere. Nails, scraps from crates, even discarded shrapnel could be repurposed. Vinegar, whether issued for cleaning or rationed for food preservation, was similarly common. Soldiers could improvise a functioning power source without carrying extra weight or depending on supply lines. The brilliance of this approach, lies in its simplicity. Unlike a complex generator or chemical battery that required precise assembly, the rust and vinegar cell could be constructed on site, with minimal training, and still deliver reliable results in conditions where conventional technology failed. For soldiers operating in the dark, in isolated positions, or behind enemy lines, that small glow could mean the difference between staying informed and, walking blindly into danger. Applying this knowledge today is not only a way to honor history, but also a practical exercise in low-tech energy. The principle really remains the same. Combine oxidized iron and an acidic medium, connect the metals, and complete the circuit. To try it safely, gather a rusted iron object, an old nail or piece of scrap works, and a small container of vinegar. Submerge the iron and pair it with a copper plate, ensuring they do not touch. Use insulated wires to connect the metals and attach the ends to a small LED or test device. The LED may glow dimly, but it demonstrates the principle perfectly. If you wish to increase output, multiple cells can be connected in series to raise voltage. Soldiers often did exactly this with whatever materials were at hand, and the method scales in much the same way today, demonstrating both ingenuity and practicality. Beyond the chemistry, the rust and vinegar trick offers a larger lesson about resourcefulness. Soldiers were often forced to adapt to the materials around them, turning potential waste into life-saving tools. Rust, typically regarded as a destructive force, became a source of energy. Vinegar, usually a culinary or cleaning aid, became a reactive medium. Understanding how to repurpose available materials is a skill that extends far beyond the field of battle. Modern survivalists, campers and history enthusiasts can take inspiration from this example, experimenting with low-tech energy solutions in ways that honestly teach both practical skills and the mindset of soldiers who relied on ingenuity over convenience. The principles behind the rust and vinegar cell can be applied to emergency preparedness, low-cost educational experiments, and even basic off-grid energy solutions. Students and hobbyists can build demonstration cells to explore chemistry, while preppers can use similar methods to power small devices when batteries are depleted. The historical context adds depth to these experiments, illustrating how necessity shaped innovation and survival strategy. By studying and replicating these techniques, you are not only honoring the resourcefulness of soldiers from World War II, but also gaining insight into principles of chemistry, electricity and adaptation that remain, relevant today. If you found this deep dive into the rust and vinegar power trick valuable, subscribe to Echoes of Valor and share this with fellow history enthusiasts. Understanding these forgotten techniques keeps history alive and equips you with practical knowledge that has, quite frankly, stood the test of time.